Welcome everyone, it's Cannabis News. I'm your host, Joe Klare. It's March 9th, 2020. The show, as always, presented to you by the Marijuana Times. MarijuanaTimes.org is where you can find us. Of course, just all kinds of great stuff there. Articles, the video tab to find this show, social media links, and more. MarijuanaTimes.org. You can check us out there. Today we're talking about Bernie Sanders and federal legalization. Also, Utah's first medical marijuana pharmacy dispensary goes online and has already run out of customers because it's so hard to get a medical marijuana recommendation in Utah. And we'll hear from someone who says marijuana legalization is moving too fast. That's right, too fast. All of that is coming up. But first, of course, Cannabis News is brought to you by NatureSide, nature-side.com, and their organic, all-natural pesticides grow safe and poison-free with NatureSide, an awesome product, an awesome sponsor of the show. Just awesome all around. NatureSide, nature-side.com. Proud sponsor of Cannabis News now for over 600 episodes. Thank you, NatureSide, for your awesomeness. Don't put harmful crap on what you're growing. Use NatureSide instead. This first story is by yours truly at marijuanatimes.org. Is Bernie Sanders the only hope for federal legalization? I point out again in this article, as I do many times, or a lot at least, often enough, that federal legalization is very important for many reasons. It puts pressure on state lawmakers. It clears up a lot of issues, a lot of discrepancies between state and federal law that creates problems with banking and other issues. It will allow for some sort of interstate commerce to be set up in the marijuana market. All of these things are reasons for federal legalization. Of the presidential candidates that are left, if you look at them strictly from a cannabis point of view, which I did in the article, because people comment on Facebook and various other places they wouldn't vote for Bernie Sanders, blah, blah, blah. I'm not voting for Bernie Sanders either. But from a purely cannabis point of view, the best chance, maybe the only chance to have someone supporting federal legalization in the White House is Bernie Sanders. Trump, who knows what Trump's going to do? He's played both sides of the issue. He's got people out here saying it's bad and it needs to stay federally illegal, and he's saying, well, states should be able to decide. He's playing both sides of the issue, and unless Congress in the next, if he reelected in his next term, unless Congress forces the issue, he's not going to do anything. Joe Biden, really? We're supposed to buy all of a sudden he's now, oh, whoa. Yeah, legalization, all the other stuff, from the last 30 years? No, that wasn't me. This is me, bro. Where am I? So Bernie Sanders, from a strictly cannabis point of view, is the only hope to have someone in the White House who supports federal legalization. It's not going to come from Trump. It's not going to come from Biden. And that's it. So you're down to 3 very old white men. Congratulations. And look, people say, well, that's a problem. Well, they're the ones getting the votes. You all are so gung-ho about the system. Yeah, man, we're going to vote, blah, blah, blah. Well, all the women are gone. All the people of color, all the minorities are all gone. They're all gone. So how do you explain that? You didn't care enough? And not enough of you cared? I don't know. I don't care, but I never claimed to. I'm not voting for any of them. So anyway, here's my Bernie Sanders spiel. Somebody left a comment on one of the YouTube videos on the Marijuana Times YouTube channel. Then I got into my anti-Bernie rant, and he had to turn off the show. I could be much more anti-Bernie. I'm just, simply saying I'm not going to vote for him, and he's like kind of a panderer, which he is. They all are, but he's particularly adept at, just pandering the crap out of people. And then if you don't like that, well, that's too bad. Your choices suck. I'm sorry. You're trying to convince me one of these dudes is going to be a great president. No, they're not. They're barely decent people. I probably aren't. I don't know enough about them in their private lives. But they're probably not even decent people. Much less these glorious leaders. They're going to bring us back to, great time. Shut up. No, they're not. More than likely, they're going to pass away in office. If you want to get down to brass tacks. This next story out of Utah. We'll end on that note. KUTV.com. Utah's first medical marijuana pharmacy needs customers. On the day it opened, Dragonfly Wellness, Utah's first medical marijuana pharmacy, had 16 customers. On the second day after opening for business, there was a big problem. According to co-owner Hoang Nguyen, on day 2 we had one patient come through the door. One patient I know what you're saying. How is this possible, Joe? Marijuana is very popular. You say it all the time. People want to buy it. Well, let me continue. Nguyen said on the first day of business she turned away 200 customers who did not have state-issued medical cannabis cards, but did have letters from doctors who recommended medical cannabis. So you see the demand is there. The problem is, you may get tired of hearing me say this, but I get tired of saying it. I get tired of being true. Government in Utah, government in general, is the problem. They're the problem. There's plenty of customers to buy marijuana. There's plenty of people who want to sell marijuana. The reason these people can't get together is government. It was government under prohibition that was the problem, and government now is still the problem. Even with this modicum of legalization that some places get. The pharmacy made sure it had enough product stock to meet the state's March 1st deadline for making products available to patients. Only doctors who've registered in the state medical cannabis program can certify patients who then apply for cards. Huang said both patients and doctors are misinformed about the process of getting a patient card, which allows people into a pharmacy to make a purchase. She went to Capitol Hill to talk about the issue and the problem. The problem is they were trying to get all of this stuff between those who want to sell marijuana and those who want to buy marijuana. It doesn't need to be about a lot of middlemen or a lot of rules and stuff and regulations in that transaction. You may think there is. There's a need for that. There's a need for the government to hold your hand and tell you what marijuana to buy, and if it should have a certain amount of THC, and if it's safe enough for you to purchase and to try because you can't do any research on your own. That's too bad. That's too bad. If you need a babysitter, don't smoke weed. Get away from the dispensary. Get away from the recreational shop. Go home. You're a baby. It's for adults. If you're not an adult, you can't go buy the weed without the government telling you how and when and where and what to do, then don't bother. You're not old enough for weed. I don't care if you're 40. If you need a nanny to tell you how and where and why and when to buy weed. You're not an adult, so you don't need it. Go home. Go home. Leave the marijuana for the adults. Thank you. This last story from scientificamerican.com from Denise C. Vido, published today, March 9th, as I record this. Possibly one of the dumbest things I'll ever read on air on this show. Cannabis legalization may be moving too fast. Too fast. Are you kidding me? Let's hear this. Not all cannabis is created equal. Neither are the people that use it. As an epidemiologist, I have studied cannabis as a plant, potential therapeutic agent, and potential health risk over the past decade. My research has revealed a concerning trend of confusion and false promises when it comes to the purported health effects of this increasingly popular substance. Routinely, a new cannabis-infused product claims to relieve a multitude of ailments. But alarmingly, most of these unregulated products make such claims with neither scientific evidence to back them nor regard for the potential long-term health consequences. When it comes to cannabis, the pace at which scientists are coming to understand the health effects of the substance pales in comparison with the speed at which it is becoming available to patients and the general population. And there you have it. This notion that legalization needs to be tied to research, and only when we've reached a certain threshold of research should we then consider legalization. One is not dependent on the other. And if you admit that one is dependent on the other, then you admit that strangers should get together and decide whether or not you can use cannabis. They will. That's a practical reality of politics of the day in the United States. But they shouldn't. They should have no say over what you do in your home, because what you do is not infringing on the rights of anyone else. So to say, well, we can only legalize if we have enough research. No. As I've said before, we don't need any research to tell us that if you don't infringe on the rights of someone else, you're not committing a crime. That's it. Research the plant all you want, its effects, its health detriments. I don't care. I don't care. None of that matters. None of it has any bearing on whether or not the people who use, grow, and sell and possess marijuana are infringing on the rights of anyone else. They are not, therefore they are not criminals. Therefore, legalization is what needs to happen, regardless of where you think the research is. By the way, that's another thing. What's the standard? What's the standard? The answer is it's different for everybody. The standard of how much research is needed before they can accept legalization is different for everyone. Me, I don't need any. Other people need a lot. A lot of people in between, and that's where you run into the problems. We're asking all these different people and getting all these different people's opinions on whether or not I can smoke some weed in my house. We shouldn't be asking them. That's why there's so many problems with it. That's why it's so hard to pin down. That's why it's so hard to get things accomplished. Because we got to check in with everyone about what I do in my house. This woman says we need more research. We need more research before we allow adults the choice of cannabis. Because they're dumb and we're smart. I'm an epidemiologist. All good for you. Good for you. You paid a lot of money to go to some school. That qualifies you to tell me whether or not I'm a criminal if I smoke marijuana? Bullcrap. Bullcrap. I don't care how smart you are or how smart you think you are. I don't care if you're an epidemiologist. I don't care if you're the baby Jesus. You have no right to tell me what I'm doing in my own home if it doesn't affect you. And it doesn't. The situation hasn't slowed the push to legalize cannabis. Oh, no. There's a reason for that. Because it's not necessary. She talks about New York. Other people are trying to push legalization, obviously, things we talk about every day here on the show. Since 2017, a National Academy of Sciences, Engineering, and Medicine report entitled The Health Effects of Cannabis Cannabinoids has served as a warning even as cannabis has become more available and legal. The systematic, comprehensive review notes that the dearth of rigorous research on the health effects of cannabis poses a public health risk. But first of all, it's crap. I know it's not your granddaddy's cannabis, but people have been smoking weed for decades. If it was a public health risk, we would have seen it by now. Just because some people go to the hospital doesn't mean it's a serious public health risk. Research on cannabis has made notable strides in the past 5 years, but that's not enough. That's not enough for this person. And it goes, listen, Denise C. Vidot is a cannabis epidemiologist and an assistant professor at the University of Miami School of Nursing and Health Studies and a Public Voices Fellow with the Op-Ed Project. All of that in $1.50 will get you a newspaper. It means nothing. Nothing. Why? Because it doesn't matter how smart you think you are, you're not qualified to make decisions for other adults. You're not. And if you need people to make decisions for you, as I said, go home. You don't need marijuana. Marijuana is for adults. You can't decide what kind of marijuana or how much you need to buy or all that stuff, or you need the government to tell you that it's safe to smoke. Then go home. Go. Shoo home, little kid. It's for the big boys and the big girls. Marijuana. It's for adults. This research crap, it's mainly used by people who want to delay legalization because they can say that indefinitely. Oh, there's not enough research. There's not enough research. You ask them what the standard is, well, they'd have no idea. There's no way Denise C. Vidot will be able to tell you what amount of research will make her cool with legalization. She'll say something along the lines of, well, we have to see, we need to do more research, we need to slow down on the legalization and go forward with the research. No, legalization shouldn't be tied to anything at all. At all. No strings at all. It should be legal, cannabis that is, because those who use it, grow it, possess it, and sell it are not infringing the rights of anyone else, and that's it. There's no research needed for that. None. Thank you. It's been Cannabis News. Start of another week here at the Marijuana Times. Check us out on YouTube. Search the Marijuana Times there. Make sure you continue to like and share and comment on the videos. Spread the truth about cannabis with this show. Thank you for watching and listening today. We'll see you next time right here on Cannabis News.